Hey everyone, it is July 15th. Welcome to our Wednesday hangout for the Topher Spin Meteorite crew. Got a lot of new faces in the crowd, a lot of the regulars, but a lot of good, exciting things happening tonight. And one of the things I'm really excited about, and we're going to get to it, but we're going to discuss and show off the brand new ungrouped Achondrite. That is the hottest meteorite in the world right now. I have a sample here, a 44-gram slice thereabouts, and it is very odd, but we're going to purposely break it up and make it available to those here on a live stream at a ridiculously low price. The interesting thing about this new meteorite is it has been classified. It has been submitted to the NOMCOM. It will not be given an NWA number. It will be given a name. I'm not at liberty to say, but it is going to be something 002. It is an Achondrite. It is ungrouped. Therefore, it doesn't fall into the HED family from asteroid Vesta 4 family. The Howardites, the Eucrites, and the HED, Howardites, Eucrites, and Diagonites. So this one's being called, excuse me, this one is being called something from a larger parent body or maybe an extinct planetoid. Dr. Carl G was doing some work on it, and he mentioned that there is diopside in it. The green crystals that you see, we're going to show it later in a minute, but the green crystals are chromium diopside, and the orange crystals, or the orange that gives it the orange color, are low calcium pyroxene. So we'll get back into the science of that later, but so we actually have a 44-gram slice of it, and we are going to cut it. Hey everybody. I'm going to try to cut it into sizes that are affordable for everyone here in the group, and we're going to make it available for everyone live at a special price. So before we get into that, if anyone has a little bit of the ungrouped Achondrite they'd like to show off, now will be a great time. If you have something you'd like to show off, just let me know. Wave to the camera and I'll put you on. If you constantly see yourself popping up in the screen, it means your mic is picking you up and you probably should mute yourself, but otherwise, I love free flow conversation. So who has something to show off? Or do you guys just want to see the Achondrite?
I mean, I have a little piece of the Achondrite, but I need to get outside so you can see it.
Okay. Well, I had my 10th anniversary weekend this weekend, and my wife, with the help of hold on, Cameron. Oh, good. I'm gonna try to get you on, Cameron.
So there we're trying to figure out
how you turn it around.
There it is.
Nice.
My wife to help me here.
Okay, so that's the new Achondrite we're talking. Oh, there you go. See the long grains in it? What's the weight on that piece?
It's about it's 1.6 grams.
Nice. Wow.
Yeah, the sunset isn't doing it much justice.
Dude, Lee, you have a beautiful sunset though, at least behind you.
Oh yeah, it's turning into one.
Oh my God, dude, you have a beautiful backyard. Alabama all the way, huh?
Yeah, it's going to be a nice day.
Wow. So that's the new ungrouped Achondrite that we're talking about today, and what my wife did for me as a special 10th anniversary present, she couldn't buy me all the meteorites I wanted, so what she did is she gave me a meteorite experience. Mark Lyon, hey, Mark Lyon's on with us. Mark Lyon, curator and reseller of the Mark Lyon collection. Basically supplied my wife with some very rare meteorites, Bencubbinites, and this new ungrouped Achondrite for basically her to do her own show and tell for me of meteorites. So she laid them all out, and I got she read all scientific information. And if anyone knows my wife, that is totally not what she wants to do on a Friday night, but had a great time at it, and was able to select one of the items as my anniversary present, and the other ones were just an experience. So let me show you what I selected as my anniversary present. And this is one that Mark Lyon actually said, this is the one he's going to want. And Sue said, no, 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 he's going to want something else. So, wow, we'll put that right there later. Okay, so this is the metal-rich chondrite, and it's almost hard to believe that it is a chondrite because, let me take that out. I got to move the light. There we go. Okay.
You're sure that's not a mesosiderite?
No, that is
gorgeous,
ridiculous. And let me see if I can get the light a little bit better. There we go. So you can definitely see the chondrules in there, but it is 75% metal. So this is one I've been eyeballing for a while and just never pulled the trigger on it. So this was my my wife's anniversary present to myself, and I haven't even weighed it yet, so I don't really even know the weight of it.
That's beautiful.
That's the unpolished side, and it's moving with my heartbeat. I'm zoomed in that much. But yeah, check that out.
That's incredible. The unpolished side is almost just as amazing.
It is. I know. What side do you display? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that. Right. It's almost like some sort of meticulously anodized, fancy new piece of equipment or something.
Because you're
something made out of aluminum.
You're definitely seeing all the chondrules, like there's one there. I mean, there are silica chondrules in there, but we're talking high metal. Now, usually, when we're talking about an H chondrite, which is a high metal, they top out around, 22% roughly. This one is 70 or 75% or something like that.
What does the exterior look like on that? The edge, or whatever you'd call it.
Yeah. Let me see if we can focus on that.
I have the main mass if you're interested in seeing what the exterior looks like.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure, definitely.
Let me get it.
Yeah, that's Mark Lyon in the background. Yeah, because this is so hard to see, get a good representation of it. But if he has the main mass, I mean, yeah, so this, look at that. Yeah, super, super cool and super special gift.
What was the NWA number on that again, Topher?
It is 13202.
I got to look it up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So it was found as 2 pieces, but it was one piece that had been naturally broken. So you could see where the breaking was. Let me see if I can get a video on. The outside, it looks like actually originally people were thinking that it was going to be a new CB. I don't know if you can see it very well. Maybe my...
Well, if you can put it in the sunlight a little bit more.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, so people are thinking from the outside, that it might be a CB. There's where the natural
Natural
break.
cleave. Yeah.
Yep.
It's very nondescript from the outside.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you'd never know you're looking at something that awesome on the inside just by looking at the outside. So that was. I'm glad Mark joined us because he can fill in the missing points. Because here was option number 2, and of course, because it's from Mark, it's going to be a rare Bencubbinite. And when we say rare, this is about as rare of a Bencubbinite as you're going to get. Mark, is this the one that only 2 people have?
Well,
Or is that the other one? Because I know there's another.
Plus ASU has a piece of it, but basically it was interesting because there's an interesting backstory there in that it was actually owned by Bruno Fecte, and it was stolen, during the Tucson show when they had all of those, when they came back to France and all of their stuff ended up, they ended up with a bunch of rocks and someone stole all their meteorites.
Oh my God.
And I tracked it down, and I, kind of went through some legal processes to make an agreement, with the, new owner of it and Bruno to make sure that everybody was happy, about, the legality of ownership of it. But I only made 3 slices of it. There's that slice. There's a slice that Stephen Dixie has. I believe the last slice Roberto Vargas has, and then there's Mass.
Wow.
Yeah, I've got 6.7 grams of that.
Man. This I'm not educated enough, and I never pretend that I am, but in the Bencubbinites, you have all the metal and usually in blebs, but then this is extremely unique only to like Bencubbinites, just like a CAI is unique to a carbonaceous chondrite, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, that's one of the reasons why I really like CBs is they just don't really look like anything else.
Yeah, this one was really cool.
Mark, if I may ask a novice question, correct me, but I've read out there on the internet that the individual metallic crystals are single chondrites. Is that correct?
Yeah, and you can really see that.
Or chondrule, sorry.
Yeah, you can really see that with the Gujba more than the other ones. The other ones, they're kind of a little bit distorted, but yeah, they're. It's just a really interesting class. Like I think people don't even really know so much about how they're formed. So they're still a little bit mysterious.
That's beautiful, man.
I find that for their scarcity, this may sound crazy, but still undervalued, almost as if they're not really well known.
Well, I completely agree. That's why I've been, stocking up, on them. Like, I had over a kilo of the Gujba a while back. I sold, a decent amount of it, but and the one I've especially been stocking up on that I think is really undervalued is Ishievo. I mean, it's the only CBCH in existence, and somehow it's really cheap. So I tried to get a 300 gram end piece of it from ASU, but the trade sort of fell through, so all I have is like a few slices. But that one specifically. But even Gujba, for a fall of a really rare class, it just seems, undervalued.
But you do see the metal as chondrules in this. It's like to me, it looks like the reverse of a chondrite, where you have the metal chondrules and the internal matrix that's holding them together is silica, rather than the other way around.
Yeah, there's something really amazing about the contrast between the white sections, that material, and the metallic color, the darker metallic color. But when it's shifted at an angle such that it reflects the local light back, it completely changes. So almost the, you know, just the feeling or the scheme of colors that play along.
You get a totally different look at it, whether you're looking at it straight on or with the reflective light.
So I've got Ishaevo, which Mark was just talking about. Upside down. But it's like he said, it's the only CHCVV classification, and then the
that was a pretty big piece, man.
Yeah.
Wow. You got me beat 9 times over, man. Mine's only like a gram.
I've also got the mother of Bencubbinite.
Wow.
Bencubbin. So this is the type find or whatever.
So all Bencubbinites in the class of Bencubbinites are named after Bencubbin, and that's the Bencubbin meteorite that fell in Australia. So that's what all the types are named after.
This is
find. It's a rare one that's named after a find rather than a fall.
That is beautiful. That's the 13202.
Yeah, that's the 13202. This is Sierra Gorda. So this is one of the Bencubbinites from Chile. I think I have, oh yeah, my Gujba.
That's a nice slice, dude.
Yeah. And then, so this right here is the one that you just had, the 1814.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is the other NWA 4025, yeah. And that's an uncut. So between this right here, this is basically, take these out. This is basically what there is for Bencubbinites, with the exception of HA237, HAH237, which is a C. What is HA237? It's a CVB. Yeah, so HA237, which I actually just bought and is getting sent out today. There's one other CBA that's Cabraza Chimboyaza 001 or something like that, and that is Luc Leben's. I'm getting some of that. It's on its way from France.
Wow. And
then the two unobtainiums, which Mark actually has, is Mark has Weatherford, and then the last one is Fountain Hills, and the only people that have Fountain Hills are like the Kilgores.
Mm-hmm.
It's their stone.
Fountain Hills is where Mark lives, or his parents live.
Yeah.
Like that's like really, really, really close. So a Bencubbinite in his backyard, if he doesn't own it, he should be embarrassed.
Yeah. Well, I've been talking with the Kilgores for 2 years about it. I was just talking with them about it today, trying to get a little 1.9 gram piece as part of like a bigger purchase of like a 700 gram vermilion, but they're not.
They're not letting it go.
Hard to get the Kilgores to budge.
Here was another Bencubbinite that Mark Lyon made available as a potential anniversary present. This is NWA 4025. These are both end cuts. So what this is really good for is you can see obviously the internal Bencubbinite structure, but you can also look at the outside and kind of guess or look from the outside, and you really don't see the shapes coming through, like on a Gujba, the round chondral or round metal blebs. So that's one slice or one end cut, and then here's the other end cut. And here you can kind of see the shape of one of the blebs coming out around in here. So this is what the bleb would look like from the underside in 3D rather than seeing a cross section. But this is an extremely rare one as well. But he had me at the high metal chondrite. Yeah, so this is another one. So Mark Lyon, I thank you privately, but I also want to thank you publicly for allowing these pieces out of your collection for a little while, allowing me to have a little anniversary show and tell. That was really nice of you, buddy. Let me see.
Here's a Bencubbinite as well.
Nice.
Is that Bencubbinite itself?
Bencubbinite, yeah.
Wow.
Bencubbinite.
That's pretty cool. All right. Who has something they'd like to show off? We have a new guy with us, Bruce from New York, and we don't really know a whole lot about Bruce, so I don't want to put him on the spot, but
That's fine.
How long you been collecting?
About 2 years or so, mostly from Aerolite, from their live Facebook things that they've been doing.
Mm-hmm.
And actually met Martin last year when we were there for Space Fest. We all went. A few of us stopped by their headquarters and ended up picking up a couple things from there. So I'm just like really kind of learning. I mean, for a while it's like I didn't even think you could own this stuff, and now it's like I'm like running out of room to put the stuff.
Oh my God, it's like you're inside my brain reading my thoughts.
Yeah.
What kind of items really grab your attention?
It's something that catches me visually. That is really what I'm going to connect with. And I'm like trying to get one of like every type there is, as best I can, but it's like if I see it, it looks nice, I want to have it on the shelf, then that's kind of what I go for.
Yeah, understandable. Do you have any pieces near you you might want to show off?
Yeah, I got a couple things I can probably grab. Give me 1 sec.
Nice. Yeah, we'll wait patiently. You done yet? No. Gives us a chance to wet our whistle, and other people, if you have stuff to show off, will line it up a little bit.
I do have a Gujba. I'm trying to figure out how I can show it in the dark here.
Oh, yeah, shining in your monitor is a good idea. Yeah, tilt it down a little bit. There you go.
It's an end piece. There we go.
Oh, yeah.
You can kind of tell what it is. And I love it because I'm kind of an end piece person, so I love to see what the outside looks like too.
Mm-hmm. That's a big chunk, man.
Yeah, I got a pretty good price. Weatherford is the last, speaking of this class, Weatherford's the last my bucket list. So if anybody has any and wants to send it to me.
It's hard. I had 2 pieces go through my possession of it, and I had to work just to get those 2.
Yeah, I remember. I think I talked to you and you said, "Oh, I just sold another one to somebody else." I thought, my luck.
I've got a piece of Weatherford on the way, and I'm currently saving up for a second piece.
Which is not to say that you would actually sell it to him, probably.
Yeah, he's right about now. He's just
for sale.
I'm begging.
Yeah, he's not being helpful. He's just kind of rubbing it in. So.
Oh, I'm going to have 2 pieces. That's too bad. Well, it looks like Bruce has got him something to show. So,
yeah.
Hey, Bruce.
All right. So one of the first pieces I bought was Semchan And at the time, it's like I thought it was just the palisite. Didn't realize that there was also like the second part of it being a metal. And I looked on Aerolite's website when I was like just very beginning, getting started, and I came up with this.
Ooh, nice.
The first time I looked at it, it looked like the Rebel logo from Star Wars.
Yeah.
So, you know, you got the palistic part here, and it's all metal here. So you got the nice transition.
Nice
the
meteorite
rough edge.
shiv there.
Yeah.
That's a really nice piece. Can I see the reverse side, please?
Yeah.
I remember seeing that on the
Oh,
Aerolite side.
yeah.
It's right at the boundary, and it's really nice.
Yeah.
Now, wow, I wonder, see, with a piece like that, I wonder if that's a natural break along the olivine edge. I can't see the olivine being on the yeah, it looks like it's broken there
Yeah.
to me. Again, it's in low res right now, but yeah, it would just, to me, it would seem odd to have a siderite, a big metal part of it with olivine just on the outside, you know? Just pontificating.
So, and since we were talking about Bencubbins, so this is an actual Bencubbin
Nice.
that I got.
Wow.
That's
It's
a
weird
pretty
how,
nice.
yeah. It's pretty weird how naturally each week one topic just comes up and sticks. Like last week it was Australia. Now it's Bencubbinite. So awesome.
But still,
So I also, one of the things I like was, is this Diogenite? It's NWA 11342. One side is the other side. But if anybody's looked at the RR auction for tomorrow, that ends tomorrow, which Aerolite has, I think a lot of the meteorites there are theirs. It's like I looked at it in the catalog, I opened up the catalog, and I'm like, wait, this looks like my piece. It's probably like the next slice over or whatever.
Yeah, sister slice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird because like when I saw someone slice a Gujba, I'm like, oh, that looks like the same profile as mine, just a little bit later in the stone. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
so I've got some bigger pieces too, which I'm a little afraid to drag over at the moment.
Well,
Maybe another time in the future.
oh yeah, absolutely. We're just really glad you joined us, Bruce. You know, this is your first time here. Hopefully not your last. We need maybe a little late on the East Coast, so we definitely appreciate you joining.
Good to see more Northeasterners.
Yeah.
I'm from Connecticut, so.
And we're glad Roberto remembered today.
Hey, Topher.
Yes.
Okay, I have to go make dinner real quick, so I just want to show something real quick. About, oh gosh, a few years back, I bought a scotoline shrapnel. It's been sitting on my shelf for several years. What I didn't know was that it has a hole through it.
Oh, nice.
That's something I've had this for years. I put a piece of string to highlight it.
Yeah.
But it's not really a burn hole. I don't know if you can see, but it's actually a folded over piece of metal. If you can see right
yeah.
here. Is it in focus? Yeah, right there.
Yep.
And it's actually folded over and welded itself to the bottom, which created like a tunnel.
Wow, and it's
I've
got
never
nice
seen
flow
that.
lines coming from that front
Oh,
point
it's got
too.
tons of flow lines on it. On the other side, it's nothing but flow lines. If you can see that right there.
Nice.
But I've got a couple of these large shrapnels, but this has been sitting there. I was looking at it the other day. I saw some light coming through it. I thought, what the heck? And so I kind of held it to light. You got to pull it just right. It's in one of these little crevasses here.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to see. It does go all the way through.
That is pretty cool. Constantly discovering new things, even on an old piece. That's great.
So, okay, I'm going to sign off for about a half hour. I'll be back and go after dinner.
All right. Yep. And I'll definitely take care of you if you're interested in the Achondrite. So don't worry more about that.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, man.
See what you got.
Looks like Mike Kelly might have something he wants to show off.
So we started out, and you said the topic of the day was Bencubbinite. So I'll start with that one, right? So that's a tiny little Bencubbinite. But the reason I'm starting there, type fall, this week I was able to actually finish them off as far as the carbonaceous type falls go.
Oh, man.
So Ornans, Corunda, Avuna,
I think you went too deep into the void. Come back to us, Mike. Come back. We miss you.
Move to the light, Mike. Move to the light.
Oh, well. Anyone else want to jump in and show?
He's still on the user list, so
Yeah.
he might come.
Well, if he comes back, we'll definitely allow him to show off his piece. Kevin, you got something? I saw you just sneak in.
I do. This one, Bruce was talking about buying things that look like things, and I thought this one was cool. This is a Howardite, but it's shaped like Africa. It's NWA 8343.
Nice.
Shaped like Africa.
That's the diagonite?
It's a Howardite.
A Howardite, okay.
Yep.
It looks has a lunar texture to it almost.
Yeah, it's kind of a beige color, so the lighting is pretty rough here, but it's pretty.
And that's a slice or an end cut?
Slice, yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. And then this one's fun. This is Tank Mountain, and Beth Carrillo actually found this.
That is the one she found. Yeah. That is cool. Was that her first classification?
I don't think so. But she found it. And it's I think it's a H6.
That's neat. Right on.
That's all I got right now.
Okay. Is Mike Kelly back with us or not? Oh, hold on. All right, I think we're switching gears into the Achondrite. Oh, see now that is ridiculously thin.
It looks like bismuth.
So that's the Achondrite that we were talking about earlier, and damn, it's got to be 1 millimeter. That's crazy.
Is that from Jason?
Yeah, I've actually been scared to touch it. No, I was just reproducing the picture. Everybody's probably sick of seeing that online, but
no way. Look at that green.
It's gorgeous.
As I said earlier, the green is chromium diopside.
Interesting thing I will add with my experience in lapidary, jade is actually based in chromium. So yeah, you're gonna get green, I guess, and you also polish it with a different compound, different than tin oxide. I know that has some sort of discoloration effect, but that's about it.
Well, I have something that I'm going to break out right now that I know you guys are interested in, and I have to be careful which way I show it. It is in here. I'm going to switch to this camera. All right. This is the puppy. I should probably weigh it and find out exactly how much the starting weight is, but this is the one that we are going to break apart and make available for people today. Okay, so we are at zeros. I'd call that about 40 grams. 39.96. Now, let's take a look at this puppy. I already put a video up on it online, but it is just so gorgeous that, first off, look at the lap work on it. One side is completely lapped. The other side is not. But it is so strikingly unique.
Boy, they took an amazing polish.
Yeah, it's hard to photograph it so polished. Look at these chromium diopside crystals.
I want a countertop made out of that.
Look at that. And the orange, he said, was low calcium pyroxene.
The greens are just so vivid. They're pure almost in that.
Now, this is nowhere near the thinness and translucency of Martin's, but let's see if I can turn off this light. There we go.
Wow.
We do have, let me see here. We do have some crystals up there.
Yeah, you can see them there.
And then some crystals down in there, followed by some down in there. Whoops, I'm not even in camera. Down in there. This is a hole, but that one's a crystal. So this is what we're dealing with today. And it's kind of odd and weird that you would have a slice and purposely break it, but this is a opportunity for really rewarding people who came out here for our live and making this available.
It's going to be hard to watch, Topher.
I've broken apart other meteorites that were really nerve-wracking, including probably about a $12,000 Noclite. That was pretty unnerving. But this one, I don't think I'm going to have that much problem with. What I plan to do is I want to find my piece. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to exploit natural features in what I see are natural features, and I'm going to score it with a razor blade.
I've snapped this material. It's not too difficult. It breaks pretty evenly. I didn't have a lot of crumbling or anything like that.
Awesome. That's fantastic news, because this piece right here is what I want. So what I'm going to do first is take it right through here. Going to try to get this included in that. So this will be the first slice.
Now, Topher, is there a benefit to polishing scoring the polished side versus the unpolished side?
I'm hoping my blade will go deeper into the non-polished side, but
I dropped out before I got back in. I was wondering, have you guys ever thought using a glass cutting wheel? They're like a couple bucks at Home Depot.
I have not.
They're designed for scoring glass before you snap it, and it snaps real evenly. It's like basically a little diamond wheel.
That's true. It's harder than glass, so it should be harder than steel.
Here is the first piece, and this does have a translucent crystal in it. So that is our first piece, and I'm going to set that aside over here. Now, let me take a look at this one more time. Okay. And want it to be on that side of it. Wow, this stuff is really...
Yeah, I tried to score it with no luck, so I just kind of...
Really?
Yeah, I just
All right.
snapped.
Well, I know exactly where I want it on this side of it, so... Wow, guys. It is some firm stuff.
Never time.
I was
bust out the karate chop.
what? No, it's got to be right there where I scored it. 3, 2, 1. There we go. Good. It saved it right around that crystal. Perfect. Okay. So this is the.
Martin, you all right there?
I tell you something, I got sweaty palms right now.
This is the second piece. I'm going to move that somewhere safely. All right. Now, before I take too many more slices off, I'd like to get people's feedback. I am selling the slices online right now for $75 a gram. If it has a green crystal in it, it's $85 a gram. This does not have any green crystals in it. This is $75 a gram. And I can move this so it'll focus. Right now, this is up to $250 a gram depending on where you're going for it. And I wish it would focus. There we go. So it does have a natural hole. Be glad to weigh this for you. This one here is $85 a gram and has an amazing crystal. So I don't plan on breaking this one anymore. I'd like to, that is a beautiful piece right there. Is anyone interested in this one at $85?
How much does that weigh?
The one with the crystal?
Yeah.
Weighs 4.7 grams, 4.8 grams roughly.
About $400.
So that's that one. Then there's this one that does not have, oh, I'm sorry, hold on a second. Let's take that back. This is $75 a gram. 4.8 at 75. This
Looks
other
like there's a face in it. Like the profile of it has a face in it. Over by your finger, your pointer finger. If you rotate it clockwise 90 degrees. See that the right, it looks like there's a person facing to the, well, you've got the other piece of this part of the stone in front of, behind it. So there you go. You see, it almost looks like a Egyptian face with the goatee.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Yep.
I'm just trying to, you know, pitch it. But
so
looks
this
cool.
This is the one with the crystal in it. $85 a gram. Come on, there we go. 4.54 grams. Because if no one's buying it, this is the one I'm getting with crystal because I can't
I'll
afford
take the one with the
this
crystal.
What's that?
I'll take the one with the crystal.
Okay, Bruce, you got this for 85. Give me 1 second to move it somewhere securely for you.
It's a good get, Bruce.
Thanks, Martin.
He's getting serious about this meteorite stuff.
Yeah, a little bit.
Give me 5 seconds. Talk amongst yourselves if you don't mind. Okay, and I didn't really want my hangouts to be sales driven, but this is the hottest meteorite in the world right now, and it is a ridiculously affordable chance. And If no one wants this big one, I'll break it down even further, but I'm not going to take anything more off the main mass until if people want this. We have any?
That one, Topher.
Is that Oz?
Yeah,
Okay. Give me 1 second and I'll write that up for you.
I like that one.
Yeah, that. And let me show you a quick little vid of it.
Yeah, I actually had to get my hands on that piece I had before I realized how beautiful this thing
It is just ridiculously wild. Like I can look at it for a long ass time and never get tired of it. Where's the focal point? Come on. I don't know what it's trying to focus on, man. But
You know, and there's one other thing to kind of consider when we're looking at particularly the slice that you have, Topher.
mm-hmm.
These slices came from Mark, and as of right now, what's being classified are the 2.2 kilos that Mark sent in. So usually with stuff like this, like with the Lirzolytic, you have like one that's actually classified, and then you have a bunch that are like self-paired or pairings or whatever the case may be. You're not really gonna have that issue. Like this material is so unique that it's, you know, everybody's gonna be using that number.
Yeah.
But that number is actually just assigned to the 2 kilos that Mark submitted.
And on my COA, I will definitely put the provenance, as I always do, of where I got it. And if it just so happens that that happens to be the main mass holder for this, well, so be it. And you scored it at a ridiculously low price. Well, since those two went, let's look at this a little bit further. And I want to make sure that my next slice is where I want it. Okay, we have.
Anyway, just nitpicking a little bit. Actually, it was submitted, but actually not as an NWA number, which is actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
That it's not submitted as an NWA. The actual name itself is private right now.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, it's kind of nice that it's going to actually have a region, you know, attached to it, you know, with actual knowledge of where it came from and such.
Wow. And that's Mark Lyon talking for those. Now, would you guys like me to try to take a smaller piece or a larger piece? Do we still have interest in another piece?
Smaller piece, maybe?
Smaller piece? Okay. This corner right here will probably be about 2 grams. If I can catch that little hole. Let me weigh this one out. Got a nice little hole in there for you.
That accounts for the nitrogen and oxygen content of it.
That's 2 grams on the dot, just about, for 75. So that's $75 a gram for 2 grams. And then I will be selling all of these little pieces, including these two as well after this. So did we have interest in this 2 gram piece? Does someone want something bigger? Do 2 people want this to be a 1 gram piece?
Me too. I'll take that.
And who's that?
Kevin.
Kevin. Okay, awesome. Give me 5 seconds.
What was the rate for that particular piece? Was it 75?
75. If it has a green crystal in it, we're doing 85 because that's extremely rare. but not like on Martin's, man. His is cut so thin that all these crystals, all the chromium diopsides are translucent on his.
I wasn't actually going to buy a piece of this until I saw that piece. It was like, no, that's me.
Does anyone want some more off of this?
I actually had a question for Mark relating to this meteorite. And that was, is there some particular reason other than aesthetics why this is being given a special name? Because as far as
I mean, it's not so much a special name. It's just that because it's such unique material, and because there's a decent amount of it, available. It was, not just like a really small amount. Tony went out of his way to try to collect enough information about where it was found to designate it something other than NWA.
And that would be a chemical or geochemical designation, or
no? That's because the NWA or it's all about location of where.
Right, I understand that part, but I was wondering if, I believe the crystal segment of that type of meteorite is usually abundant, but not in such large crystals. Am I getting that correct? And because maybe they're more, monolithic, it's considered special or a classification of its own, or is that?
Well, the reason it's, and again, Tony doesn't want things to be incredibly specific until after it's voted on. But the rationale of the classification of ungrouped Achondrite was mainly because the oxygen isotope analysis puts it, roughly between HEDs and any known angrite. So at first there was thought that it could possibly be an angrite, but it doesn't have any, the analysis didn't really plot it close to any known one. So if it was one, it would be different from any, other ones. And there's only a couple, I think there was an anomalous eucrite that it was close to, but it didn't have the actual, properties of that one. So it wasn't, anywhere close to that one in other ways. So basically, it's not like anything else. So there is really no way to class it other than a ungrouped Achondrite. I don't know if that answers your question.
I believe so. Yeah, basically, there's nothing like it. I was.
Yeah, so it seems to not be from Vesta.
That definitely does make sense to me. So.
Yeah, so I think the general rule is until they find three things that are, grouped together, it would remain ungrouped. They wouldn't even really talk about creating a new group unless there were three similar things out there.
Mark, who's the Tony you're referring to?
Tony Irving.
Okay.
I think under the rules, 3 gets you a grouplet, and then 5 gets you the full grouping.
Yeah.
Well, we can move back into a show and tell model, but if you guys want more of this Achondrite, I'll be glad to snap off a few more pieces. We don't have any with crystals anymore. The crystals are gone, except for the ones way down here, and that's going to be mine. So if anyone would like some of this, let me know, because there are definitely more pieces I can take off along this side, or we can move to show and tell and come
Is
back.
that 2 gram piece already gone for 75?
Yeah, it's 75 per gram, and yes,
Yeah.
that one was taken by Kevin.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Arthur, if you want that, you're welcome to it, man.
Well, yeah, I'm kind of trying to take it easy on my wallet from past live arrow lights. I've had to give up buying gold nuggets so I could buy meteorites. So,
Like I said, if if your heart's screaming for it, go for it.
Well, it's rare, and if I'm to believe all the hype that's going on with this particular piece, yeah, it would be nice to have a small piece of that in the collection.
Or maybe Topher can find you something.
So
it's not hard to snap off another piece. That's what he's doing.
Oh, sure. That, I mean,
there you
if
go.
Everyone is all right with that.
Batarang piece.
Let's take a look. This is the piece Arthur, that I've snapped off for you.
Oh.
I think it's a really good piece because it shows this this orange area in real good detail, and that's the low calcium pyroxene. Then I'll show you the reverse side as well.
Yes.
And let's get a weight on this.
Like to see that under the microscope, especially in a thin slice.
There you go. I got 2.15 grams, so just about the same, and $75 a gram for you.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Done.
I'll set that aside for you. All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate it as well.
Arthur. All right. Does anyone have anything they'd like to show off, or is there more interest in another piece of this? I don't want to be late, make it go on too long if there's no interest.
Since
Is anyone interested in sharing anything?
Go for it.
All right, real quick. So let me flip the camera around. I got this in the mail last week. So if you guys at any moment are having trouble seeing anything, actually this is a little bit dirty. Hold on real quick. I'm sorry, I apologize everybody. Real quick, okay, real quick. But this is, I'm in my greenhouse, probably can tell, but I just brought this in here to kind of address the point along the way, the importance of natural light when you want to observe something of natural beauty. I don't know. Something I kind of learned with collecting opals over the years, but over the years I've noticed that it applies to many things, and photography or any kind of just video capture in general. But as far as the phone goes, if you can get a focus on it with some natural light, it looks pretty good. And this is Dronino. I got this from Russia, and because of the pandemic, it took quite a bit of time to get here. A couple of months, actually. I think I ordered it in March, just about when I think I found the Meteorite Club. I ordered it from Pavel. That's his name. I don't remember his last name off the top of my mind, so apologies for that. But
that's a nice little wedge.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, this is a really nice piece. I was just about to say that this is not the complete order. It was sent to me in parts, I believe 2 parts. So I did like that as well. That just kind of gives it another layer, sense of security that, worst case scenario, you lose something and you're dealing with a different country's mailing system. You're not sure exactly how it works. But yeah, this is a nice piece. Got plenty of inclusions. It's got an outer section here. And this side is particularly interesting. It has these sort of crypts. And if I can zoom in for a moment, you can see how it's like spiked all the way around here, and the crypts are almost tubular and facing down axially, in a sort of, I mean, just
I'm not sure if
coincidentally.
I'm not sure if that's a natural feature, to be honest with you. Maybe someone can ring in, but I believe that may be rust spots that have been
it's weathered
sampled.
out troilite, looks like.
Oh, okay. Well,
so you see like the troilite inclusions on the inside, those are ones where they were sticking out on the
yeah.
surface, and they're
Interesting.
iron sulfide, so they come out a lot easier than the rest of it.
Right. And
thanks, Mike.
Cool. Okay, cool. That's good. That helps me see this with a whole different perspective. And there's still ablation that's gone on. It's not like erosion has dominated the metal portion overwhelmingly. Correct? Because I don't see a lot of remnants
on a lot of that Dronino that you get from Russia that looks like that on the outside, that has been sandblasted. So it's an attack site. It's fairly stable, but it does oxide and rust on the outside. So what they do in order to recondition is they sandblast it. So like that's a more natural looking one, but the other ones, they're sandblasted, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I have my Dronino is sandblasted.
Sorry, I had my microphone muted momentarily because of the cooling system, but this Dronino here has a hole, and that's pretty cool. I like that.
Those are pretty cool, and they actually look like meteorites. You know, there's a lot of times you show off something to someone, and you have to convince them, yeah, it is a real meteorite.
Right. Here's a cool piece, real quick, if I may. Show off this one real quick. But yeah, it's sort of shaped like a fish. It has these marks of where I believe the metal just sort of dripped away.
That's cool. Dronino has such unique shapes to each one.
And this is the last piece, but also very cool.
They look like they were
zinc.
preserved correctly.
Is that right?
Oh, they look really good. When you got the bag, were they all greasy and oily?
Nickel.
When you open up the bag?
No, not at all. Not at all. They were good. This guy, Pavel, he's definitely a professional. He takes it very seriously. He's told me a little bit about the quality that he does and the time and pride he puts into making sure that these will last as long as possible. He's very, very open about, anything like their corrosion or anything that might happen. But yeah, and I've heard plenty of good things before actually purchasing. So
that's awesome.
There's going to be more of this coming soon, so maybe I'll have some other examples. There are going to be more slices, I believe. Or sorry, not slices, end cuts. He no longer does slices, I believe, due to the losses.
Yeah, there's a lot of loss when you cut, and that's why, like, it blows my mind when I see Martin's Achondrite cut so thin. I'm like, it's beautiful, it's absolutely breathtaking, but you got to factor in how much loss there was, and it's just like, oh my God, it hurts, So there's a little bit of crumbs over here. We lost a little material, but we shared it with people.
I try not to encourage bad activity by people, so I'm glad to know that, Topher.
Yeah. No, you have a beautiful slice, man. So nice. Does anyone want another piece of it or have anything to show off? Looks like
Brett's got something.
We got Brett.
Hey, everybody.
Howdy, sir.
I don't know if you can hear me or not. My internet has been horrible here in my new apartment. This is just a pretty cool little Howardite that I got. Let's see if I can get you a better just a little guy, but I just thought he looked really cool. I picked him up from Sean Mahoney.
Oh yeah, outer spacer.
Yeah, it was just actually, he took a really awesome picture of it, and then I contacted him about it right away, and I was like, put that aside for me.
Nice.
And as most of you know, you don't talk to Sean Mahoney without getting a nice Muonionalusta.
There you go.
So I had asked him to pick me out one, and then he applies something different other than the Paleo Bond. Topher, you might have a better idea of what that was. I can't recall.
Yeah.
Some kind of oil?
Yeah, no, God, I hope I do it justice when I recall it, but it's a nano. It's nano, so the molecules are super small, and they actually get into the cracks and crevices, and therefore the oxygen can't. And the nano protection is so thin on it. Here, maybe we can spotlight that again. The coating is so thin because of the nanotechnology that it's not like it's indistinguishable on the surface. You really can't. And I haven't held one. So Brett, maybe you can let me know if that's true. It doesn't look all glossy and shiny and coated.
Yeah, it basically, according to Sean and what I'm seeing, it maintains its actual original look to it without causing that shine. Mm-hmm. Which I have some meteorites that I actually favor with that Paleo Bond on it. And it would work just as well with this too, but it's just really neat to be able to see the natural look of the meteorite itself.
Yeah, and Muonionalusta is it's a ruster. So what Sean Mahoney did to test out his new nano coverage, he got two Muonionalustas, coated one, uncoated the other. My details may be a little off, but he put them outside for a month, whatever, and let it rain on, let everything happen to it outside in Spain, and then brought him inside and looked at him. The one that was coated was in pristine and perfect condition and would still bead water when he poured water on it.
Sounds like some kind of electroplating.
Yeah, I didn't press him too much about the application, so I don't know if it's electroplated or if it's spray coated or dipped or sprayed or fairy dust put on it or what.
Well, Topher, if I can, I'm going to show, he picked this one out for me because I asked for an end piece. So this one's especially one that I'm going to keep in my collection for a while because it actually has the end piece to it.
That's nice.
Awesome.
Nice.
That's when you really see the striations and the formation of the metal structure within the slice. Because the open side obviously is all those junction points cut flat, versus the outside you actually can see the 3D effect of those.
Yeah, Muonio is so cool because you get those like pyramid shaped indents where you got like full crystal structure that pulled out on the octahedron. So you get all those pyramid shaped indents.
Yeah.
It's a cool piece.
Very nice.
Thanks.
So if we're talking Muonionalusta, there was a guy selling scale cubes last year.
That's cool.
Nice.
That's pretty neat.
Is it accurate?
No, it's a little bit smaller than a centimeter.
Refund.
No, it makes all my meteorites look bigger. So.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then
it's a trade-off of what you pay for, I guess.
We were on a chromium kick. I have a periodic table collection. I have almost all the elements that you can own except for about 3 of them. And this is actual chromium out of the ground. So here's what we're talking about chromium. Here's what a raw piece of chromium looks like. And I don't know if you can see the green color.
Wow. How would you describe its density? Is it a pretty dense element, or?
This is 87 grams. It's heavy.
Wow. That's very dense. Yeah.
Where do you keep your things like fluorine and stuff, Kevin?
I have them in a sealed vial.
Okay.
Yeah.
When I was in high school, I wanted to do exactly that, get a little bit of each element. But
Yeah, the
Does
noble.
anyone know if that's twice as heavy as iron
What's that?
atomically?
Say it again.
Does anyone know if that's twice as heavy as iron atomically?
I'd have to think of my column and my atomic.
Sorry,
mass.
I didn't mean to cut anybody off. So
Here's a Muonionalusta that I got, and it was 100% encased in rust and oxide and shale. It was absolutely miserable. I removed 1/3 of the weight, but got it to this, which is just a unique 3D sample. Like even under here, all of that was removed. All of that had to be painstakingly removed.
oh, for what can you share what kind of processes you use to get it that shiny?
I will not do that on live internet. No, of course.
Gotcha.
No, I have a little chemical bath. It's really not that much of an ordeal.
Yeah.
It's basically distilled water, lye, and I think one other thing I forget, alcohol. Isopropyl alcohol, and you mix them in a certain ratio, and you soak it in there, and literally, I mean, this one, it's a slow process. You're undoing tens of thousands of years of damage. So I left it in there for about 6 weeks, and every week I take it out, give it a nice brass brushing, put it back in. And one thing when you put it in the bath is you want to elevate it. So if this is where the water level is, like you don't want it on the bottom. You want it on the top and middle of the water. That way all the chlorides, when they fall out, they're heavier and they go down. So it's not sitting on the bottom of the bucket in all the high chlorides that you just took out. It's above it in the thinner water, if that makes sense. And then once that bath is abused and all dirty and it's not effective anymore, you change out for another bath and leave that in there for another whatever. But the total time on this one was about 6 or 7 weeks, something like that.
That's not bad, considering how bad it must have been.
Oh, it was horrible. Like it started out, it was massive compared to what it is now, but it's super, super cool because you really do get, look at that just there on top.
It's pristine.
Yeah, that's a beautiful.
Yeah, it's
specimen.
preserved
So for
the
real-
original crystal.
Yeah, you can see the crystalline shapes in it.
It's not even like that's a natural cleave and it looks like a slice, you know?
Yeah.
So you can really see the crystals of the metal. You can see how the crystals are stacked and they're all on top of each other.
You can see the inside on the outside, basically.
Exactly. Yeah, this was a really cool piece to work with because as I was taking off more pieces, like this whole segment right here, this was all full. All of this was all up to this level. All of this was all complete. This whole bit had to be removed because it was all unhealthy. But now I have a piece that is just pretty cool because the thing is I saved it. If it left on its own, it would have kept on eroding away till there was nothing left, other than a pile of shale and rust shavings and stuff. So it's kind of like our accountability. If we're going to call ourselves collectors and curators, and we're going to say we have a passion for this, I like saving distressed ones every once in a while.
Yeah, that's what I'm digging into now, is how to get rid of some of my stuff that's starting to rust without harming it.
As I'm always looking for guest speakers and guest subjects. I know that Craig Lyman is the resident expert in reverse electrolysis, stabilization, polishing, coating of irons. I would love to have him on here and talk about his electrolysis process. So everyone drop him a private message on Facebook, blow him up, hit his wife up, No. But see if we can get him on here, you know, and anything like that that you guys want to discuss or see done, like Stephen O'Mara cutting, that'd be fantastic.
That sounds great. I'd love to hear anything scientific. You know, I don't mind if it's in depth and people consider it, you know, very numerical or dry. If it's about meteorites, must be pretty important, I'd say. So, yeah.
Yeah, I've reached out to Mike Farmer, who's probably going to be joining us one of these times, and be showing us some of his items, or at least just retelling some stories. I mean, for those that don't know, I mean, he's the modern day Indiana Jones meteorite hunter. He is the main mass holder for so many meteorites, including Saracho. Like, he's the one who brought Saracho to market. So hopefully we'll have him on soon. We also have Dustin Dickens joining us next weekend from Top Meteorites, and Dustin Dickens is going to not only give us a little tour around his room, but he is in the process of sending me a carbonaceous Corunda type, so a CK, I believe a CK4, maybe a CK5, I forget, but he's sending that to me this week as a giveaway for next week's participants on our live stream. So at the end of the stream, I'll pick a name from someone who's live. I'll write down a number. Whoever guesses the number, I don't know. But so someone's going to get a carbonaceous chondrite from Top Meteorites, Dustin Dickens, next week for just attending and doing something you love doing every week, I hope.
Just a question. I don't want to get off point, but I've tried a few meteoritical organizations to see if I could acquire a small sampling of a shatter cone. That's probably something you don't get asked about or talked about very much, but it's just another unusual item to have in your collection associated with an impact.
Absolutely. Impactites are, when I started collecting and dealing, I wanted it all. And
yes.
I realized right away you can't do it all. So I've actually cut and said no more impactites. So my entire impactite, and that includes shatter cones and impact breccia, anything that is earth material that has been transposed or transformed through meteoritic impact is a tektite for those on YouTube. So my entire collection was sold to Mr. Pat Brown, who sucked it up in a heartbeat. And in there was, I know, one super little sexy Agudal shatter cone. It was about maybe that big, but it was perfect. It was the most beautiful little mini shatter cone I've seen.
Nice. Nice.
You could try eBay, but also maybe try Mendy. Mendy's into them. So.
Which one?
Yeah, I was just wondering if they could be faked very easily, you know? Yes. Oh, yes. Yep. Yep. Very nice. Very nice.
There we go.
Shatter cones are really not something that would be that profitable to fake, but there are some terrestrial stones that look similar. So you know, it's the same situation as with meteorites. Know your dealer.
Oh, absolutely. That's why I went to a meteoritical professional preparation of meteorites for universities and such, so, and museums. So I wouldn't trust just going to eBay and seeing something, and, you know, because let's face it, if somebody can sell something, that's what they're going to do, and buyer beware.
Yeah, and eBay unfortunately has turned into a den of thieves. The Wild West. There's very good stuff out there. There's a lot of very legitimate dealers and suppliers out there, but they have zero interest in patrolling anything or dealing with people that are acting fraudulently. I'd give Mendy send him a message, and he is well connected enough that if he doesn't have any, he probably knows who will.
Yeah.
Yeah, we deal with everything meteorite related, even if it's terrestrial meteorite related. Yeah. Hey, Mike, what are you showing us there?
So you talked about all the associated things. You mentioned the Goodall, like the meteorite, and then you also have the shatter cones from the same area. So this is Webar. So there's unoxidized Webar there. There's Webar shale. That's the local kind of sandy material. Webar is Saudi Arabia, I do believe.
Yep.
Wow.
There's a piece of melted kind of impact material that was closer. So this is kind of just like fused sandstone. It didn't totally melt. That fully melted and stayed on the ground. And you can see there's like a little aerial type splash form. Not really a tektite because it didn't go far enough. But you could definitely tell that it flew and was able to get aerodynamic. And then there's the actual sand that has slowly covered up the crater site. So it is cool.
Nice.
Some of the meteorites to kind of collect all the different stuff you can get from that same area.
Tells a story for sure.
Yeah.
That is really
nice.
cool.
Well
That's
presented too, Mike.
exponentially better.
On the bottom left, the little black one, is that Weber glass? Is that what they were?
So that's not a Weber pearl. That's actually the shale part. So there was a lot of shale found there.
Okay.
So that's the oxides. The one thing I would still like to add to the set would be a good little round perfect pearl.
Okay.
But those are really few and far between.
When you hear the term Weber or Weber glass, which of those are they referring to? The top where you're
the top on the right, those two would be both Weber glass.
Okay. That's really cool. Thanks for sharing that with us, man.
Yeah.
So. Absolutely.
And then I got cut off before, but that was all the carbonaceous chondrite type falls. And I've also got all of the Martians.
Do me a favor, start again because you did get cut off. Show it. These are all the name type specimens.
Yeah, that's all the name type specimens of all the carbonaceous. So I was lucky enough to finally finish that off this week with a little bit of Vigorano from Italy. That was the last one I needed for those 7 for the carbonaceous. So there's Ornans, Avuna, Renazzo, Corunda, Miggy, and Bencubbin, which is what we were really talking about a lot with the CBs. But then I also have the SC and N of the Martians. So there's a little bit of Shisigany, a little bit of Shergati, and a very, very, very tiny bit of Nakla, because that's the hardest one to go by. And then I also got I got 5 of the Achondrites, but I'm waiting on Lodrin to come in. But there's Noviori, Albrus, Angrados Race, and Winona. And then the kind of the last 3 out there are Rumarudi, Brakina, and Kakangari, and those you just don't ever find those. So
wow,
I think I'm really pretty much as close as I'll ever get.
Amazing.
And what I tried to do is I tried to get them from all reputable big name dealers, because I know there's a lot of, especially when you get down to the micros, it's hard to track provenance and have fidelity that what you're getting is what it is. So.
No doubt. Man, that is cool. What the type specimen, that is, I mean, because that's what everything else is named after. That's just badass, man.
Now, do they send you paperwork for the releasing of that material from the country that it's found in, so you have proof that it wasn't stolen?
No, Mike, you want to do that?
So no, I don't. Different countries have different policies. As far as I know, Bencubbin was early Australia. Now Australia requires export, but at the time, I don't believe it did. And the rest of them, as far as I know, do not require paperwork for loss, to make sure it's not stolen. But interesting stolen story was Angrados Race. So that's Brazil. And a couple people actually went down and tried to switch it out in the museum and sneak it out in a shoe and get on an airplane. But they had gotten heads up, that they were people pretending to be from a university. And they were both apprehended, trying to get the basically the main mass of Angradose race out of the country, which it subsequently later survived the museum fire down in Brazil. But yeah, this is probably one of my my most prized specimens. As small as it is, it was witnessed to fall into a bay, and then they had to go skin diving down to recover it.
Oh, wow.
So
this sounds like a movie. This really sounds like a movie.
And that's the original Angrite.
That's the original Angrite.
Wow.
So I think there's 35 of them now. I found it interesting. I just picked up a new piece the other day. It hasn't gotten here yet, but I keep track of, how many of each class are there at the time when I buy it. And my original one bought just about 2 years ago. There was 12 of them. Now there's 35. So it's almost tripled, the amount of Angrite material out there in the Met Bowl than there was 2 years ago.
And I think that has a lot to do with people people recognizing that odd-looking stones can be meteorites, like this new, this ungrouped Achondrite. Couple years ago, you show that around, you'd probably get laughed at. But it is what it is. It's from space.
I think a couple of weeks ago, if you put that on the suspect meteorite of the day type deal, you would have a lot of people that would have said, I don't know about that one.
Yeah. We have
it's a beautiful, unique material.
Yeah. I still have it available if anyone wants me to take another piece off. I know that we just had Bob join us, so let me just show what we're working with the ungrouped, and if there's no interest, we can move on. But this is the ungrouped Achondrite that we're working with, and the live price is $75 a gram. And I'll be happy to snap off as much as you want. This was 44 grams. Now it's a lot less. But the next piece that's coming off will probably be right here. So we can get this. There's some natural faults in here that I'm going to exploit and try to get this piece to come off in here. Unless someone wants a bigger piece. I'll be glad to take as much off or as little off as people want.
Somebody buy that whole piece. My nerves just won't stand another snap. And it's beautiful too.
I know, it's absolutely gorgeous. The goal is to get down small enough where I can. Let me see here. This light is not working. There we go. My goal is to get this little crystal for myself. I can't even see it. But yeah, these crystals down here, so I want like this for myself. This is just crazy looking material.
Bob's asking a question on the chat.
Someone in the questions asked, how much does the remaining piece weigh?
The remaining piece weighs, and it may be too heavy for my small scale. Let me see here. Yep, over 20 grams.
1,700 bucks.
The remaining piece.
Bob says thank you, Topher.
Okay, is 26 grams. Yeah. So if someone's looking for, a 13-gram slice, I can snap this in half because I would take 13 grams happily. All right. Does anyone have anything else they'd like to show off? I'll be glad to spotlight you. All right.
Well, hey Mike, if you're doing all the type specimens, does that mean you have to get an NWA 001?
The first of the NWAs,
Yeah.
I think I have 001.
I have a little teeny guy.
I think that was that lunar? There was one that was, NEA 001 is, I think, lunar, right?
Yeah, one's not lunar. It's a conduit.
Yeah. Yeah, no, there's an NEA too, though, and I think that was the first one they given that, and that was lunar.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, I was looking at doing a little box with NWA 001, El Hamami, and Oasis as kind of like the old school, early hot desert kind of first to markets.
Yeah,
Thought that'd be a pretty cool set. I got 2 of the 3. I gotta get the 3rd.
That'd be fun.
I'm trying to collect all the NWA sub 1000s. I have a ways to go. There's some that you just won't get because, like, back in the day, they issued out a bunch. They would issue out blocks of NWA numbers, and then they would never finish the classification process, so they're all provisional. So, like, I happen to own the main mass for NWA 425. I went for NWA 420, but I was off.
Damn.
So I own the main mass to that, and it's provisional. So there's a bunch of early NWAs that are provisional, and there's a bunch of NWA early ones that are like 60 grams or 12 grams or something like that. You're not getting any of,
So for a mere $100, you could do those things justice, and you can get rid of that little P next to them.
Oh, let me see here.
What happened to NWA 420?
It's unknown. It's lost in time.
Bunch of stoners forgot where they put it.
Well, the same guy that and I forget, Dave or someone Bessie, Dave Bessie, I want to say. I hope that's right. But he's the one who got a bunch of NWA numbers issued to him.
Dean Bessie.
Dean Bessie, thank you. Yeah. So this is what we have now. We have provisional only. So I don't even have this labeled as a classification. But this is NWA 425 main mass. Wow. And I also own the main mass to NWA 861. So I have 861 and 425. Those are the lowest NWA main masses that I own. But I would put this as an L. Right. L7, L6, there's not much there. But yeah, this is one of those unfortunate ones that wasn't didn't go through the whole Met Bull process, wasn't classified. They never followed up on it, and it was lost to time. It was given a number, and nothing ever happened with it. Now I hear the nomenclature committee is requesting or suggesting that all submissions now come with photographs. And I think that's a major, major step forward. So you actually have the main mass holder submitting the information with the scientist and pictures of the thing right then and there, so you don't have to wonder what it looks like.
That's great. Most nomenclature requires some sort of visual documentation.
When they refer to being ungrouped or unclassified, are we speaking about it doesn't fit into any chemical known group, which there are only so many elements out there in the entire universe, so it's got to fall somewhere,
Well, there's two different phrases there: unclassified and ungrouped.
Yes.
Unclassified means it's just that it hasn't gone to a lab, it hasn't been classified. No one can really say for certain this is an L3 or this is a CM2. We can take educated guesses at it, but until it's classified, you can't officially call it something. Okay. When it's ungrouped, it means it's been classified, but it doesn't fall nice and neatly into a pile. all the numbers and all the, you know, of all, it doesn't, you can't match it up with a certain group. So it's at this point ungrouped. So it's an Achondrite, meaning it's not a chondrite. But it's not a lunar, it's not a Martian. We haven't seen anything like this. I don't know the oxygen isotope results yet, and probably would understand very little of them if I did. But it doesn't fit into any slot, any group that we have yet. So
that has to be very frustrating for the people of academia to have those pieces around and only be able to take it so far.
In the exact opposite, it is the most exciting thing that academia has right now. Dr. Carl G just returned to his lab a while ago. He is super excited about this. The academic name for us nobodies have been calling it the 2020 ungrouped Achondrite. The academic world, including Dr. G, has been calling it the Emerald Meteorite. Although I like Emerald Achondrite so much better. So between the scientists, they've been calling it the Emerald Meteorite. So that's the nickname for it, and that's maybe what I'll put on the COAs. That's, yeah, so I thought it was pretty neat learning some inside information as to what's going on behind the scenes.
I'll say when there are no more questions left to ask, the scientists will lose their jobs.
Absolutely.
And, you know, I know if I was a scientist and I had a choice of studying an L7 chondrite, an L7 chondrite, an L7 chondrite, or this weird thing that no one knows what it is, I think I'm coming to work on Tuesday.
Yeah, well, you found something new to put you forward, give you some distinction in your academic career. If you find something new, pick something up new that no one else has ever picked up or seen before.
Yeah.
Well, as the diagnostic equipment improves, they have to rewrite the science books because they learn so much more than they ever knew before. So science is always evolving. You cannot say it's going to be this for long.
Right. Or not necessarily rewrite the science books, but add further layers of detail or refinement on
understanding.
You know, a distribution of composition, you know, based on something new. Like we just found out like for example, I just heard recently that we found out that someone can correct me if they're more aware of this, but dwarf yellow stars have produced the majority of the carbon that is in the universe. So all life. So I mean, these things can be related to meteorites, I assume. So.
One of the great things about meteoritics and what has me fascinated is, particularly like this new one, is when they get something different, or that's why they try to get all the samples they can, is you're learning more about what formed planets, what formed our solar system, possibly things about exoplanets. The meteorites hold billions of years worth of data, and in some case pristine stuff from billions of years ago. And I think that's what amazed me. Was one time I was looking in my hand and thinking, I've got something that's, they say it's 4.5 billion years old. How can I possibly own this? I'm a custodian for a brief time, but that's why, like this new meteorite, I'm dying to read the write-up on it whenever it's published, because I want to know what they find out from it. That's just, I've 3.5 years been doing this. I have no real experience, but through all the looking I've done, I've never seen anything like it. So I know I get excited thinking, well, what are they going to find out from this? So whenever it's published, somebody send me a text. I want to read about
and you gotta think too that the Met Bowl is just going to be the tip of the iceberg. You know, the real hard science is all still waiting to be done.
Absolutely.
You know, that's just to get it classified.
I just wonder how much of this material in the past has been found. but then people have looked at it and dismissed it completely.
I was gonna bring that up, Donald, because Jose Garcia in Spain posted a picture of a rock he found 3 years ago and was told, no, it's not a meteorite, toss it. And he said, nah, I got to hold on to this. He held on to it. And he says it looks very similar to this Achondrite. He posted a picture. It looked a little different to me, but yes, I wonder how much material was looked over and tossed in the past. And now, you know, the hunters are becoming more knowledgeable that it's not just a hunk of iron or a hunk of rock, but like a CK. I mean, it's light, it's airy, it's like charcoal. You could literally destroy it on a whiteboard, you know, just dragging across a piece of paper. So that normally wouldn't have been collected in the past. It has no metal in it at all, so it's not going to set off any search thing except your eyes. And when you pick it up and it's lighter than air basically, and it's charcoaly and crumbly, are you going to think it's a meteorite? You know.
Are there any carbonaceous chondrites that float like pumice in water? Have you ever heard of
No,
any?
there aren't any that have. No, there aren't any that have a density less than 1. But they are significantly less dense than the ordinary chondrites.
I've heard them referred to as the mud ball equivalent of a meteorite. They're like a clay ball or a mud ball compared to a rock meteorite.
Wow.
So I've got one more if we've got a minute. Are you seeing my video, Tupper?
I'm seeing you.
Okay, there we go.
Nice.
So we've been talking about achondrites and the comment about you know how many achondrites have been found on Earth and then you know discounted as being meteorites. Achondrites are differentiated meteorites in that they have been processed through heat and temperature. And on Earth, you have to include the effects of wind and water and tectonic plates and all those sorts of things. And so, you know, without fusion crusts, those rocks are oftentimes very difficult to tell from terrestrial rocks because most of them are igneous rocks. But here's when meteorites were first discovered, one of the things that made them different, made the meteorites be out of context with the local rocks, are chondrules. So, and we know that the chondrule material is the most primitive material. Now, carbonaceous chondrites and ordinary chondrites, but in the world there are 4 LL 3.00s. So, you know, used to be we just had 3, 4, 5, and we've gone to 3.1, 2, 3, and now 3.00, 05, etc. So there's 4 3.00s in the world. These are 2 of them. The other 2 are well, there's some Arcona, which is unobtainium, and then another one that is a very, very tiny total weight.
Now, by being a 3.00, I don't know the exact number, maybe you do, but it didn't reach a temperature of like 300 and some odd degrees inside. It never was transitioned by heat.
It's more pristine.
Correct.
Far more pristine.
Yeah, it was never so you know the progression. All of the chondrites started out as individual chondrules and then were accreted into a body of some sort. And then as those bodies got larger and as short-lived radioisotopes like aluminum-26 provided heating, impact provided heating, larger mass provided more pressure, that time under temperature and pressure changes from, you know, extremely unchanged to much more metamorphosed. Meteorites are still chondrites. Even the the class 7 chondrites, but they've been subject to temperature pressure, recrystallize, the chondrules lose their shapes, you get migration and solid state crystallization. So that's 3. So 3 and up, 3 to 7 is more and more heat and pressure. And then 3 and down is about aqueous alteration. So many of the carbonaceous chondrites contain water, and at one point they were exposed to liquid water. And so that exposure takes a perfect 3.00 carbonaceous chondrite and drives it towards a 1.
That's crazy. I don't think I've ever, like, what is classified as a 1 or something like that?
So there are C1s.
Oh, okay. Not in the L's, not in L's, but once you go to carbonaceous, that's when you get to this. Okay.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Because the ordinary chondrites don't contain water, but the carbonaceous chondrites, many of them contain up to 18 and even 20 or 22% water. If you look at a piece of Aguasarcas, after they've been setting for a while, especially in a dry environment, they shrink and crack. You know, it's because they contain quite a bit of water when they fell.
That's
and we think, originally, we were thinking that comets provided a lot of the water on Earth, but the oxygen isotope ratio of cometary water ice is not right for what we see for a mean seawater carbon isotope here. And so the current theory is that carbonaceous chondrites brought water to the Earth, and that fits very nicely with the panspermia idea in that carbonaceous chondrites contain many carbon-based compounds, so-called organic compounds. Now, not organic as in from life; they're abiotic, but they also contain amino acids. And in fact, murchison was found to contain a DNA base pair. Again, it's abiotic, not from life, but those are the building blocks of life. And once you have amino acid base pairs like that, they will self-assemble into DNA. So there's your water and your DNA and your other alcohols and other carbon compounds.
And in my presentation last week, I was talking about murchison and how it had over 86 identified amino acids, and the human body only has 21. So the complexity of the space debris is really on display. Go ahead, Robert.
Right. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, somebody else had a question there?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Roberto, go right ahead.
Me?
Yep, you're on.
Okay. I just wanted to show off one of the things I've been working on a little bit. So I've got this. I got this from you actually, To, for the display. It's actually just what they came in, but I liked it as an idea for a display for like Achondrites.
You took my idea, dude. I was gonna do something like that myself. It looks really good.
So those are ungrouped 7325 5400, which is thought to be like proto-earth material. 6704, which is really cool material. 6077. Higgins is the main mass holder for that material. That's the new one.
Yeah.
The Lurzolytic piece of Knocklite, Lodronite, Angrite, Urolite, Bracknite, Winonite. That's Acapulcoite, some Lunars, some more Strigatites, and then just like a regular Eucrite. And then down here I just have like the 801, which was pretty cool. They just came out with an article about it last year, I believe,
with
about how it
ribose?
had. It also has amino acids in it. CH3, a CV7. There's only 2 meteorites classified as CV7. That's my second slice of 13202. And then that C3 ungrouped. Those last 2 were actually marks. So
That's a fantastic collection right there, man.
Sweet. Yeah, it's
wow. Yeah, that's fantastic, dude.
still got a ways to go, but working on it.
Absolutely nice.
Yeah.
That's sweet, dude. I like that. Would anyone like me to revisit the Achondrite for $75 a gram? Because that is a offer that will expire when we end this live. All right, everyone has what they need. Sweet.
Well, could you possibly try to get a small subgram? Or I meant a large subgram.
Yeah, I could definitely do that. I have these 2 right here that I'd be willing to, I mean, they're sub-gram for sure.
Put them on the main camera.
Oh, thank you. Sorry. I have these 2 pieces that are sub-gram. Let me see if I can pick one up. Wow, it's 1 second. Definitely can see exactly what it is. So those are. Do you want something bigger than that? I can definitely break you off something bigger if you want.
Anything as close to 1 gram as you can.
Okay, awesome. I'll take care of that, Guy, right?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. I'll take care of that and reach out to you offline.
Okay,
right.
thanks.
No problem. Does anyone else have anything else they'd like to show off before we?
Actually, I've got something I have a question about.
Oh, nice.
Okay, so a few years ago, I bought a Chondrite from Jeff Notkin. He called it an unnumbered Laben. I was wondering if anybody knew anything about this. It's got a lot of metal in it. That one big bleb down there. It's rather large rock. It's about 1 kilo. But does anybody know anything about? I mean, I know about unclassified chondrites, but this one's got me stumped.
What did he call it again?
A pre-numbered Laben.
A Luke Laben piece.
Yes. So we were talking about classification numbers and so forth, and we were talking about NWA. So NWA is specifically in the language of the Meteoritical Society and the NOMCON is a dense collection area, DCA. And there are other ones here in the US as well. So if there's one area that has a lot of meteorites, it gets a dense collection area number. In the case of Northwest Africa, we don't know exactly where the meteorites come from. So from Mali, some are from Morocco. They're
just
from
picked
all
up
over
the Bedouins or something and just transported.
Yeah, and so before we called those Northwest Africa, they had other names, and one of the series was Sahara XXXXX. So I have Sahara 02500. There were several other ones that were associated with the Levines doing some expeditions there, and so I believe what he's talking about there is that one came out before the Northwest Africa numbers started, and that was roughly in the year 1999-2000.
Oh, so relatively recently then. in the last 20 years. Yeah.
And Leben is an organization, a seller.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I know who Leben is, but this thing, because it's beautifully polished, somebody put a lot of time and effort into it, and it's got high metal. I mean, it just grabs a magnet like crazy. I was just hoping somebody might recognize it. I've never heard of a pre-numbered NWA. I have several NWAs, but they're all numbered.
Right. Yeah. So I think that's just, something that was brought up before that numbering scheme.
Okay. So it's pre 2000, you're saying?
Yes. Right.
Okay. All right. Well, that gives you some information anyway.
Yeah, good. We all learned a little something. We all laughed and we all cried. Martin cried every time I snapped the Achondrite. I heard him cry.
Oh, you were breaking my heart.
It was a yelp, man. Whining like a little puppy.
That's too beautiful.
Well, the idea is that everyone gets what they want, and there's still a beautiful piece left. So it's not like it's destroyed. It's just been distributed. So everyone, I really appreciate you joining me on the live. We have a great crew every single time, and today was no exception. We're really glad that we were able to get some new folks on. Hopefully we can get Bob King to show us some of his collection next time, because we saw he was online today. A few other people as well. So thanks everyone, really appreciate it. Hope you got something out of it. Hold on.
One more thing.
Bob's
before we go.
Bob's on the chat asking for a piece of that.
Oh, Bob, I'll take care of you as soon as we're over. Thank you. Is that what you wanted to say, Kevin?
Yes, I didn't want you to close the Zoom.
I totally appreciate it, because as soon as I hit the end button, the deal's off. All right,
gotta
guys.
have my PayPal address.
Thanks a lot, guys. Have a great day.
Topher.
Thanks
Bye-bye.
again, Topher. Great to see everybody.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Great seeing everybody. Good night.
Happy trails.